airplanes are something else, huh? Everybody's working pretty hard, making some outstanding aircraft here. Looks like we're about ready to let them fly. Who wants to let them fly? You ready? Let's let them fly, huh? Go! All right. I hear something over there on the WALABEAR radio. Let's check it out.
Camp WALABEAR, Cessna 90742 Zulu. How do you hear me?
Loud and clear, Pilot Chris.
Well, good. Hey, we're just out flying around today. How would you like it if we came down, landed, and picked you up to take you on a little flight?
That'd be pretty darn swell. We'll rendezvous by the cave. Over and out. While we're waiting on Airman Extraordinaire Chris, let's take off with Tommy the Swami.
Greetings, curious ones. Today I would like to talk about something truly amazing. Aircraft. Now, thanks to a lot of really smart people, we can fly up in the clouds just like the birds. But, and it's a big but, we could not fly without the help of certain machines. Those machines are called aircraft. Watch closely. Hang on to your turban. First came the hot air balloon. Ooh, I'm lighter than air swami, and then we come back down gently. Then the airplane. Roger Wilco coming in for a perfect three-point landing. Now, the helicopter. Whoa, I'm a chopper, look at that, coming in. Then came the rocket, and a little later, the space shuttle. I tell you what, why don't you help me count this one down? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off! Whoa, Swami's in space! Whew. I hope I can get back before next week's show. Woo, boy!
And we're back, and while we're waiting on Pilot Chris to come pick us up, I thought we ought to know a little bit more about how a plane actually flies before we go up in one. With us is Major John Paul Jones of the Civil Air Patrol. Welcome, Major Jones.
Thank you, Councilor Powell.
Great. What do you do with the Civil Air Patrol exactly?
I'm the Aerospace Education Officer with the local unit.
So you go around and teach people about how an airplane works and gets up in the air. Well, why don't we just start with that basic question. How does an airplane get up and get into the air?
The part of the plane that allows the flying is the airfoil or the wings.
The wings, and those are the things that stick out of the side of the plane.
Exactly.
Do we have a picture of that with us?
Yes.
Okay, well, why don't we take a look at that picture?
As you can see on the airfoil, the wind and the air push across the wing. The upper part of the wing has more length to it than underneath.
Okay.
As a result, when the air on the top and the air in the bottom come together, the air at the top has to go faster. And this creates a low pressure, which causes the lift of the plane.
Fantastic. That's great. So that lift actually lifts the plane up into the air, and then the propeller takes the plane through the air, correct?
Well, that brings into the four forces that act upon the plane.
Ooh, do we have a picture of that?
Yes, we do.
Well, let's see.
The propeller provides the thrust, which pushes the plane through the air. And, of course, opposite to that, you have drag, which is pulling the plane back. So your thrust, of course, your propeller, your engine has to be stronger than the drag. Now, the lift, in order to have that, has to go against the weight of the plane. So you have to have enough lift to pull the weight up. And when all of these four are balanced, you have flight.
Fantastic. And that enables us to get from one point to the other.
That's correct.
That's fabulous. So you have to probably study pretty hard to figure out how to make these forces work for your plane to go, correct?
You have to learn a lot about science and to really get an understanding. People spend hundreds of years studying this kind of thing to develop the aircraft that we have today. We now can fly faster, and therefore we can lift heavier loads. And what we know about the particular materials, particularly in the new planes, which are almost all wing,
That's great.
then we can get quite a bit of flight.
That's great. Well, now that we know about it, let's wait and find out more after this. Well, happy campers, pilot Chris has landed his plane in the airstrip behind the cave. Are you ready to go flying?
Yeah!
Off we go into the wild blue yonder.
Okay, here we are at the airplane we're going to fly today. This is a Cessna 206. It's a 6-seat aircraft that's pretty commonly used in a lot of the charter business. But before we fly it, we're going to check a few things and make sure that it's safe. First, we'll step in here, make sure we have plenty of fuel, make sure that everything is in a ready position so that we can check some other things. Okay, fuel quantities indicate that it's full, flap lever is up, and our radios are off. Okay, everything looks good there. I'll step out over this wheel. And what we'll do is we'll just come around the outside of these wings and work our way around, check everything as we go. These are the flaps right here. These flaps enable us to come down at a steeper angle without having to increase our airspeed. Primarily we use them for landing, okay? But sometimes we use them for takeoff if it's like a short or a soft field. Flaps appear to be intact. We're going to check some connections under here and over here. These all look pretty good. What we're checking for really is to make sure that all the nuts and bolts are in place, nothing that feels like it has come loose, and that it's operating correctly. What we're coming to right here and what we're going to check is the aileron. It's a French word for little wing, and if you look at it, you can see that this aileron moves up and it moves down. Okay, we also have another one on that wing over there. It moves in just the opposite direction as this one. And what these ailerons do is cause the plane to roll, okay? We use them when we want to bank the aircraft or just turn left or right. We're checking these ailerons right now, making sure that they're attached correctly. And they are. Everything looks good. If you look inside, right through that small window right there, you can see that when I actually move this aileron, the control yoke is moving also. Okay. Now we're going to come around leading edge right here. We're just going to check to make sure that it's smooth and that it looks aerodynamic. Looks real good. Okay. Around on this side, we'll check this attachment called our pitot tube. This instrument right here tells us how fast this wing is moving through the air. We'll just make sure that it doesn't have anything inside it, that it's attached. Good deal. Okay, well, one of the most important things that we need to check on this aircraft is fuel, okay? I've already looked inside at our fuel gauges and it said that they are full. But I'm also going to climb on top of this, look in the fuel tank itself and verify that those gauges are correct. So that's what we'll do right here. And they are. Plenty of fuel in this side. The fuel tanks in these aircraft are located inside the wings, so in order to check it, you have to climb on top of it, okay? A couple other important things to check. Things like the oil, just like your car. Okay, this says we have approximately 12 quarts of oil in it. That's where it should be, so that's good. Okay, coming around to the front, this is the propeller right here. This propeller is a 3-bladed propeller. Okay, it gives a little bit more performance than just 2 blades. Helps the plane move just a little bit faster. We're just going to check and make sure that the propeller is okay, that it's not bent or anything. Looks pretty good. Okay. As we come around the front of the aircraft, we're going to check a few more things. We're going to check the inflation of our tires. Okay, we can see our nose tires inflated, our right main tires inflated. We're also going to, at this time, remove our chocks, because if we leave those there, we're not going to be able to roll forward. Okay, everything looks pretty good there. Okay, now essentially what we're going to do is check the same exact things on the other wing. First thing we're going to do is look at the fuel. That tank is full also. We'll check the leading edge as we come along this way. Okay, here we are again at the other aileron. I'm going to move this aileron up and down, make sure that its travel is free. We can see the control yoke again moving inside the aircraft when I move this. Everything is attached the way it should be. We'll come down and we'll look at this flap. Flap looks good. Okay, and we'll come around to this part. Okay, from here I'm going to inspect the tire and our landing gear right here. Our tire's inflated. Okay, we're going to continue down the fuselage of the aircraft right here. We're going to check, make sure that all our antennas are in place. Okay, we're going to make sure that the fuselage looks smooth and aerodynamic. It doesn't have any dents in it. None of these rivets have been popped out. We're going to come back to this piece of the aircraft. This is called the horizontal stabilizer. Okay. It is basically another wing, just like this wing right here, except this wing controls the tail of the aircraft. It makes the tail of the aircraft go up and down by moving this surface right here. It's kind of heavy because of the controls. This right here is called our elevator, okay? Just like an elevator in a grocery store or a shopping mall or something like that, it moves up and down. By moving up and down as this is traveling through the air, it causes the tail to move up or down. When you move the tail up or down, the nose is going to move opposite that. So what we're going to do is check and make sure that it is attached properly. And it is. Okay? You can see that it also moves up and down. Now if you took a peek inside the cockpit right now at the control yoke, you'd see that the control yoke is moving in and out. That's how we control the elevator. Okay. Coming around to the very end of the airplane, we've got what we call the rudder. Okay? This is the rudder, and much like the rudder on a boat, this causes the nose to move either left or right. We're going to make sure that the rudder is attached much in the same way we have with the ailerons and the elevator. Okay. It looks good. The rudder works with the ailerons to bank the aircraft. We'll check this side of our elevator. Okay, and it's in good shape. Okay, back around to this side. And we're right back to where we started. We've successfully gone around the aircraft, looked at all its control surfaces, and we know that this is a safe airplane to fly.
Well, hey there. As usual, I'm smack dab in the middle of something big. But you know that I always have time for you. So I tell you what, let's chew the fat about today's show. Flight. Now there's a big idea. For thousands of years, people have always wanted to fly. And for thousands of years, they tried. Some people got off the ground. Some people fell flat on their keisters. But the point is, they tried to do something that a lot of folks said was impossible. Take the Wright brothers, for example. They wanted to build an airplane that actually flew. Yeah, all their friends said they were crazy, that they should stick to the bicycle business. But they didn't let that bother them. They had a dream and they tried. And of course, the rest is history. So take it from old J. Walter Wallbanger. If you want your dreams to get off the ground, you've got to try. And most importantly, always remember that you're never too small to think big.
Okay, we'll adjust our seat. And always wear our seat belts, just like we do in the automobiles. Okay, shut our door and we're ready to go. Okay. All right, well what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn our electrical power and get this thing running. gonna give it a little fuel. Plenty of fuel. We're gonna look around. We're gonna make sure that the area is clear. We're gonna yell clear. Clear. It is, and we're gonna start it up. And there it is. First thing we'll check is our oil pressure over here, and it's up and in the green. Okay, now we're going to start talking to the people that are going to give us permission to go fly. Air traffic controllers. Mobile clearance, Cessna 90742 Zulu, IFR Mobile.
That's it, 42 Zulu Mobile, clearance clear to Mobile. File, maintain 5,000, departure frequency 121.0, squawk 4535.
Okay, cleared as filed Mobile 5000 121.0 4535 on the squawk for 90742 Zulu. Alright, well, as we taxi towards the runway we're going to take off on, we can look over here to our left and see that there's the tower. The tower is where the people are who watch us on radar. They're the people who give us permission to take off and land, and they're pretty much the people who keep everything separated and safe for everybody who's in the air. Alright, here we are coming up to the end of the taxiway. This is where the runway begins. We had to taxi almost 8,000 feet, which is just about a mile and a half. It's a pretty long runway we'll be taking off on, but that's good. We like long runways. What we're going to do down here is turn the aircraft around, and we're going to check some final systems before we decide to taxi onto the runway and take off. Alright. We are ready for takeoff. First thing we're going to do is ask the tower if they will let us take off.
42 Zulu, flighting 180, clear for takeoff.
180, 42 Zulu is cleared for takeoff. Okay, you ready? Everybody's in. We're ready to go. We'll take a quick look out here, make sure nobody's coming in. Center line of this runway, and smoothly exit out. Probably more like about 95 miles an hour. This is our attitude indicator. It indicates whether we're going up, or down, right, and left. Okay? You can see that in order to move right and left, all I'm doing is controlling this control yoke right here. Left turn, and a right turn. Okay? Right next to it's our altimeter. We are now climbing through 3,300 feet. Here is a turn coordinator. This is our heading indicator. This tells us which direction we're going. Currently, we're heading northwest. If we kept heading this direction, we'd end up in some part of Canada, probably. Okay, as we fly along right here, we're going to actually be penetrating some of these clouds here in just a second. Clouds are just visible moisture. There's nothing inside them, nothing to run into. Basically just water like the water that condenses on the outside of your glass. Okay, it's going to get a little rough. You might want to hang on there, son. Commander Well, I hope you enjoyed flying with us today. I hope you learned a little bit about aviation, too. So, I'll see you happy campers later.
The news is next.
This is a Camp WALABEAR special edition of Action News 10.
Good morning, happy campers. I'm Eleanor Reynolds, and this is WALABEAR News. There's a new place in Mobile to enjoy a wonderful ride on a swing while catching a cool breeze. Mobile has a new park. It's located on Dolphin Street, less than a block away from Bienville Square. You can find swings, benches, and small trees there. It took a group effort by the Public Works Department, Keep Mobile Beautiful, and the Mobile Environmental Action Network to put this park together. Working hand in hand together, you can get a lot of wonderful things accomplished. The property is being leased by the city from the Mobile Catholic Archdiocese. Do you like working or playing on computers? Well, some new computers are going to be available this fall for some Mobile County high school students. Thanks in part to Brown & Root and the Partners in Education program, Brown & Root this week donated 18 computers and 9 printers to Baker High School. Brown & Root has adopted Baker High School as its partner in education. That company has donated computers to Baker High before, as Brown & Root management believes the children at Baker High need to learn everything they can about how to handle computers. Brown & Root has also agreed to help pay for computer maintenance. For years, the Playhouse in the Park has put on some fabulous productions, but they always had one problem: not enough space. But thanks to some generous benefactors, the performers won't be tripping over one another during rehearsal. The Minnie Mitchell Dance Studio will provide plenty of room for production rehearsals. There's also a second floor to store the puppets. That's WALABEAR News for today. I'm Eleanor Reynolds. Thanks for joining us. And remember, have a good time, stay safe, obey your parents, and be kind to your brothers and sisters. Bye-bye.
Savoy 6, Counselor Carl here. All happy campers present and accounted for. Mission accomplished, A-OK, over and out. We would like to thank Airman Extraordinaire Pilot Chris for taking us up in his airplane. And we'd also like to thank Major John Paul Jones of the Civil Air Patrol for coming and visiting us here at camp. Major Jones, how would we learn more about flying?
Well, children can learn more from their teachers. They can go to libraries. There are excellent television programs related to flight. And if they're between the ages of 13 and 18, they can join the Civil Air Patrol as cadets, and they can get at least 5 more orientation flights.
That's pretty darn swell. Well, that about does it. Don't forget to write us here at Camp WALABEAR, P.O. Box 1548, Mobile, Alabama, 36633. And if we use your letters, knock-knock jokes, riddles, videos, anything on the air, you'll get one of these way swell Camp WALABEAR t-shirts. So until next time, see ya!